Hi guys! I've actually managed to finish something about my new sailboat. Exciting news, right? I'm referring to the area underneath the V-berth that I showed you in the last video. Of course, it's not that big of a deal, but still, it's the first thing I've managed to complete aboard Athena. So in this video, I'll show you that, and also the Varnish sample I mentioned in the last video. I'll get started on doing a bit of housekeeping also, and at least remove part of the old headliner. And with a little bit of luck, I should also be able to hook up my Victron 50 amp battery charger to my batteries. And maybe if it stops raining at some point, we'll also be able to grab some moisture measurements off the hull. I think Yerkul might be coming down with something. He's got a very slight fever. It is supposed to stop raining later today, but seriously, what's up with all that rain? Like I mentioned in the last video, it's not exactly speeding up the process of drying out the hull. I was gonna do a fancy drone shot of the car pulling up to Athena, but that'll have to wait for a day when it's not raining. For now, let's head up and take a look at the progress I've made. Earlier this week, I applied the last coat of paint to the area underneath the V-berth. Sadly, you can't really see it because I've already started moving all of my tools in here. This is the stuff I've been using. This is the light primer from Hempel in Off-White. In a few moments, I'm gonna get busy moving all of the crap that's in the main saloon in here, just so that I'll have room to work in the main saloon, because I'll be focusing all of my energies on the main saloon until the hull has dried. But before I get started on that, I want to show you the Varnish sample I mentioned in the last video. The last time I showed you guys these two samples, I believe they both had 2 coats of glossy varnish on them. Well, now this one has 6 coats of glossy varnish and a single coat of satin varnish, while this one has 7 coats of glossy varnish. But let's go ahead and bring these out into the light. This is the satin one and this is the glossy one. Now the finish on these is far from perfect, but that wasn't the point of this exercise. The reason for these 2 samples is to, well, for one, give me a chance to work with a different kind of varnish than the one I've used aboard Obelix, and so far I must say I really like this stuff. And also just to give me an idea of how many coats I need to apply. And just looking at this, well, I think I can get away with maybe 3 or 4 coats, I'd say. As I've mentioned before, I'm partial to a matte or a satin finish over a glossy finish, so this is the stuff I'll use for the trim pieces down below. To me, a glossy finish can easily look a little bit cheap, and I much prefer the warmer glow of the satin finish, but that's just personal preference. In anticipation of all the varnishing I'll be doing, I've already started prepping some of these surfaces for either varnish or paint. And for removing the bulk of the old varnish, a scraper like this one seems to be just what the doctor ordered. This scraper greatly reduces the amount of sanding I need to do, which is certainly a good thing. I mean, all this needs is a very light sanding and it's ready for paint. Now once this hole has been plugged up where the old radio used to be, I'll paint this using the same stuff I used aboard Obelix. If anybody wants a free radio, this is free for the taking, provided you swing by and pick it up. I know this is a little bit silly, but I'm very excited about varnishing the compression post. The contrast between this massive piece of varnished wood and the soon-to-be white matte finish of the bulkhead over here is gonna look amazing. I want to get busy moving the last of the junk in here into the forward cabin. There are a few interesting items in this pile of junk here, but I'll put those aside and show them to you afterwards. This is all the food that's left over from the trip, so it looks like I won't have to spend a lot of money on food this month. In case anybody is curious, the cost of bringing Athena through the Caledonian Canal was £227. This is the EPIRB that the previous owner left aboard Athena, and this is my EPIRB from Obelix, so there's quite a big difference in size. These are the C-bands I picked up prior to the trip, and these were supposed to help with the seasickness. Now, these didn't really help me, but I know other people swear by them. How many of you guys know what this is for? On one end, it's got all of these bushy wire things, and on the other end it's got some holes for mounting it to something. I know what this thing is for, in part because there's a label here, but also because I've seen it on other boats. But I want to see how many of you guys can guess what this thing is for. So let's say the first one to get it right wins a warm and heart-filled handshake. When I found this old chewed up map, I couldn't help but think of Mo and Drake aboard Paragon. So Drake, please let me know if you'd like a slightly used map of the Faroe Islands from 1995. This looks like it's some of the blue paint that's used for the stripe on Athena's top side, so I'll definitely keep this. I think the previous owner mentioned that this is a system that warns you in case anybody goes overboard, so I assume this would be carried by whomever is up on deck and this part would stay on the boat. But I think I'll take this apart in one of the upcoming videos just to see what's inside. I believe this is an emergency aerial for the VHF, so this would be quite fun to test in an upcoming video. When sorting through all of the stuff aboard the boat, there's also an extra one of these propane alarms here. Now I have no idea if this particular one is broken or not, but we'll find out. And here is a brand new log repeater. And look at all these ring terminals that came with the boat. It's almost like Christmas Eve. And there's also this box of wires and other miscellaneous stuff, and yeah, I'll definitely keep this for now. I think the previous owner mentioned that this doohickey is for pulling out dual head sails, so that'll be fun to try at some point. Well, this looks to be a huge magnet, so well, perhaps I can go treasure hunting in the marina at some point. Athena came with this folding prop here, but sadly the teeth in here are all worn out, so it kind of binds up, and when it does close, one blade is sticking out to the side, and yeah, so I have no idea what replacements for these will cost, but I'll look into it. Oh, in case you ever go to Scotland, these are freaking awesome, and this is the last bag I've got, so I think I'll save this for a special occasion. I don't know if it's entertaining for you guys to watch me go through this old junk here, but I had a lot of fun sifting through the boat, and we still have a few more items to go, so stick with me here. Here are 2 containers of old expired flares. This one expired in '99 and this one in 2011. I'm not sure about how to dispose of those in a responsible manner here in Denmark, but I'll have to look that up. And last but not least, we've got an old ditch bag. Inside the ditch bag there's a first aid kit, some more flares and smoke, a small sea anchor, presumably for the life raft, 4 of these things to keep you warm, a bit of encouraging reading. I assume this is for signaling airplanes or other boats, a compass and a pair of whistles, an ever-ready flashlight which surprisingly isn't ready. This thing looks interesting. I suppose that's a long pole for, well, waving a flag or something, perhaps. And then there's this thing. Ah, a radar reflector. Ah, I wonder if that pole fits on this somehow. Well, perhaps this pole is supposed to be used with this radar reflector, but well, I have no idea. I'll have to play with this another day. And there's also this bit here, which seems to fit on the pole, but for me that was a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to playing with that inflatable radar reflector, but for now let's move on to something else. I want to get busy removing the old headliner so that I can varnish these, and also so that I can paint the plywood with the port lights in it once the port lights have been removed. The headliner is secured with quite a few screws, so this is gonna take a while, but luckily I know a friendly guy that's usually up for lending a hand. Hermano! Hi guys! This should also speed up the process. And that was the last piece of the old headliner. Before putting the headliner back up, I'll either replace the synthetic leather that's on there, or I'll put up wooden slats instead. Names for items aboard a boat, or even just stuff that's related to a boat, are often confusing, and I've been very careful not to refer to what's up there as the ceiling, because I know that's something else. I have been referring to that as the headliner, and well, I certainly hope that's correct. She is starting to look a little bit empty, but hey, that just means I'm making progress. These lights are most definitely going to be replaced by LEDs. These are horrible. Okay guys, this is gonna be a little bit embarrassing, especially because I know a lot of you are located in climates that are a lot warmer than here in Denmark, but it got too warm down below in the boat. I couldn't focus, so I decided to postpone the part about the charger till tomorrow. But there's one more thing I want to take care of today. Although that is a thunderstorm approaching, but let's see if we can get this done before it starts raining. In my last video I mentioned that the moisture levels in the hull aren't dropping as quickly as I'd like them to. Now up until now I've just been measuring random spots on the hull, But from now on, I'm gonna be measuring 40 specific points throughout the entire hull, and that's what this is for. I'm gonna mark those spots today. So hopefully over time, that'll give me some interesting data that I can share with you guys. And now it's raining again. Nope, 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 nope. That's it for today. And just like that, tomorrow is today. Let's head back over to Athena and continue where I left off yesterday when it started raining like crazy. This little guy is feeling much better today. I've placed these little marks on the hull. There are 24 of these marks uniformly distributed on each side of the hull, and I'm going to be measuring them daily. I know it's a bit overkill to measure them each day, but let's just give it a go. And without further ado, these are the measurements for today. In response to my latest video, there were quite a few comments suggesting various ways to speed up the process of drying out the hull, and thank you for those lovely comments. For now, I think I'll stick with just trying to let the hull dry on its own, and there are a couple of reasons why I'm doing that. So the first one is cost. It would be rather expensive for me to either start applying heat to the hull or use a dehumidifier to try and speed up the process. And the second reason is that I'd like to start with the least aggressive treatment first, but let me elaborate a little bit on that. As I've mentioned before, this is my first and hopefully last attempt at an osmosis treatment. Now, before getting started on this, I must have read every bit of information that's out there on the great hive mind that is the internet. Now, some of all that conflicting information will be its own separate video, and that's the osmosis video I've been referring to in some of my previous videos. But before recording that video, I'd like to get some first-hand or hands-on experience, so that'll have to wait. Long story short, some people claim that you can't just apply heat or use a dehumidifier to lower the moisture levels in the hull, or that's to say, you can lower the moisture levels, but the high moisture levels are due to some hydrophilic compounds that are trapped within the laminate, and if you don't remove those hydrophilic compounds, well, the moisture level would just rise again as soon as you switch off the heaters or the dehumidifiers. These compounds can supposedly be removed by washing the hull with regular old tap water. That's basically what I've been doing. I'm skeptical as to whether or not, in fact, you can remove, for instance, glycols that are supposedly trapped deep within the laminate by simply washing the hull. And if you've got some kind of background that allows you an insight to something like this, please go ahead and leave a comment down below. Even though I am skeptical, using the process that I'm using here, where I repeatedly wash the hull with fresh water and just attempt to let it dry out on its own, is not going to damage the laminate. And in case it doesn't work, in case the hull stubbornly refuses to dry out, I can always switch to one of the other options. Those options, ordered by cost, being to tent the hull, to use dehumidifiers inside the boat, to apply heat to the outside of the boat, or if there's a company in Denmark that offers that service, I could go for something like having the hull hot vacked. I mean, sure, it would suck not to be able to move aboard Athena this fall, but it's a bit of a first world problem because I could easily just spend another winter aboard Obelix while continuing to work on Athena. Let's head up and take a swing at hooking up my charger. It's been a long time coming, but I finally think I have everything I need to hook up the charger. These are the instructions, and I'll hook up the last of the wires and I'll show you. In case you're considering rewiring your boat, you should definitely pick up one of these. This is by far the best tool I've ever come across for stripping wires. It'll do anything between 24 and 10 gauge, and it is super fast. I'm making decent progress. The only thing that's left to do is to put in this fuse and this fuse. And that's the cables you see over here. This has now turned into this, and all that's left to do is to hook it up to the batteries. Everything's hooked up, and all I need to do now is to turn it on. But please bear in mind that this is just a temporary installation, just to charge the batteries until Athena goes back in the water. Huzzah! I don't know how this battery monitor is hooked up here aboard Athena, so I don't really know what this is telling me other than this looks to be a good sign, so I'll just check each of the batteries manually. Okay, all the batteries are being charged, so that's awesome. The temperature here inside the boat is fast approaching something only a turkey around Thanksgiving should experience. So I'm gonna call it quits and head back to Obelix. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. See you. Glycol and I hope you've enjoyed this video. For more videos like it, click subscribe. Please consider leaving a comment and a thumbs up. It really helps me a lot, and I appreciate your support very much. If you're new to the channel, please check out the introduction playlist. If you want to watch every single video I've ever published, check out the playlist named All Videos. It contains every single video listed in chronological order.
How was work?
It's too warm today. I think I'm gonna call it quits. I can't focus when it's this hot.
The brain is stopping.
Yeah, it is. So he has been a good dog, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
Well,
good.
he's perfect.